Hey guys, I'm John Barklow, and today I want to talk to you about Bivy camps. Now, Bivy camps are a lightweight, minimalist camp that provides you maximum versatility and freedom to roam. Now, a Bivy camp is not something that you want to necessarily plan a week-long hunt on or even a longer expedition. But a Bivy camp is going to give you the ability to kind of drop what you're doing, drop your pack, set up camp wherever darkness finds you. So if you're dogging that herd of elk and you're in the perfect position for tomorrow morning, or you don't want to travel the 3 miles back in the dark to have to come back 3 miles in the morning in the dark to be in that same position, a Bivy camp allows you to just camp wherever you are. It takes up a minimalist footprint, and it's really effective for certain species. I've used Bivy camps for elk in Montana. I've used them for mule deer in Arizona, where I've spent 6 nights, 7 days, just living out of a Bivy camp on top of a glassing knob, just glassing from sunup to sundown. I've used it in Alaska for Dall sheep and mountain goats. It's really a great tactic if the opportunity arises. Now, I think that when you're building your Bivy camp, it's really important to build it for the season that you're going out in. So as an example, in the springtime, there's going to be a lot of bugs and maybe a lot of rain. And so maybe you want a Bivy sack and a tarp. In those fall seasons, a lot of times the weather's pretty permissive. Maybe it's a little cool, but you don't have as much precipitation. Maybe you can just get away with a Bivy sack. And then later in the late seasons, the gun seasons, the temperatures are starting to plummet, maybe snow's on the ground. Maybe you want to run that Bivy sack and tarp as a combo, but you're going to switch out the insulation you use. Now, when it comes to insulation, a lot of times what I'm using during hunting season is I'm only bringing a beanie, which I always carry, and I'm bringing a puffy jacket and puffy pants. Now, the puffy jacket I'm always going to carry, but maybe I bring just a little bit warmer puffy jacket and I bring the puffy pants, and that is going to be my sleep system. I'm not going to bring a quilt or a sleeping bag because I can take that puffy system wherever I am, put the pants on, put the jacket on, put the beanie on, change my socks out, climb into the Bivy sack, and I'm fine. Now, as the temperatures continue to drop, or you're not comfortable with just wearing your puffy, maybe you use a quilt. As the seasons continue on and snow starts to fly, maybe you switch out the quilt to a sleeping bag. But whatever I do, I always have that puffy jacket. And so when I use the quilt, it's the quilt and the puffy jacket. When I'm picking the sleeping bag, it's a sleeping bag and the puffy jacket. And those things are going to be the insulation, but that allows you to leave behind a lot of weight and a lot of bulk from your pack. So for a Bivy sack or a protection from the elements, you can choose a Bivy sack or a tarp. That time I spent a week on a glassing knob in Arizona, I chose not to bring any Bivy sack. Maybe not the smartest move I've ever made, but the weather was going to be good that I didn't think I needed it. But a lot of times I'll take a ground pad, often inflatable, I'll inflate it, I'll put it inside my Bivy sack, and then I can just simply put my puffy on, climb inside, go to bed. Super easy, super simple. I can paw out a deer bed, I can lay down wherever, and I don't take up a large footprint. Now, a Bivy sack, which is basically just a covering, a waterproof covering for you or you and your sleeping bag, is not going to provide a lot of room for air, and it's not going to provide any overhead cover for, say, protecting your weapon, your pack, your boots, and you're not going to be able to bring all that inside a Bivy sack. So maybe at that point, maybe you want to bring a tarp. And maybe that tarp and that Bivy sack allow a lot of versatility where you can pitch the tarp in the day over a glassing knob to get out of the sun. And then maybe you don't need it at night, but then if weather comes in, you can use those both in conjunction. I always like to use my ground pad, especially an inflatable one, inside the Bivy sack so that it's all one unit. I'm not rolling off, and everything's kind of one cohesive unit. Now, a lot of times when you're running a Bivy camp, you choose to run a cold camp. Now, a cold camp is basically not bringing a stove. You're eating cold food, you're eating trail food. You're not gonna boil water and make a dehydrated meal and make a cup of coffee. Now, I can go a week without eating a dehydrated meal. I can live on camp food, trail food, no issues, but I need a cup of coffee. And so when I'm running a bivy camp, no matter what I choose, I bring a really lightweight stove and small cook pot, and then with some instant coffee, I have what I need in the morning to kind of get me going, and then I have another cup of coffee maybe in the afternoon to kind of keep me going. But this combination is a really lightweight option that you can consider. Now, if you're not choosing to leave the trailhead with a bivy camp, and say you're gonna pack in with horses, or you're gonna pack in several miles and set up your kind of main base camp, then you can maybe take a bivy camp and go out for a day or two and spike out from that camp and then come back and regroup. But this is a great tactic to consider to make sure that you're in position to take advantage of every opportunity you get in the backcountry while hunting.